Whoops. So, hey everybody, this is Toby Eunice with the Gypsy Kiss. We're going to hang out, Toby at 10. I want to be here for a while. We're going to play some music, jazz. I prefer jazz. And we're going to take calls. Phone lines are open from right now. I don't have any emails to read, text messages. This is a call-in show. We'll talk about Fenn's Treasure, or honestly, talk about anything else you want except politics and religion, because none of us can agree on that anyway. So let's hang out, listen to the music. Yeah, hey, WFG, if is it possible to call you and just talk about anything? Yeah, you can call in and talk about anything except politics and religion. And why do you only do live calls only? Why not, brother? What other way? What other kind of... We can't do dead calls. Do live calls. Yeah, you can call in. No politics, no religion. Talk about anything. Up to and including the Fenn Treasure. Hey, Oscar, welcome to the room. Phone numbers is right on the screen there, 202-815-1171. Lines are open. You want to call in, talk about anything? Let's talk about anything. WFG, you've been bugging me for, 2 weeks now to talk about something other than the... here's your chance. Dan K. He says, Toby, is your Continental Divide your warm water salt in Montana? No, it is not, sir. WFG, the song that I'm playing right now is called Talkies, and it's by Huma Huma, Huma-Huma. And remember, folks, if you want to reach out in the chat room, make sure you precede your comment with, as World Famous Gamer has done, an @ A space Gypsies space Kiss. Make sure that apostrophe is into Gypsy. And that way, I don't know whether you can see it on your side, but I can see it highlights your comment on the page, so I can see it in comparison to all the others. Super Chat is open. We've got a call in. Yeah? How come I didn't hear that? Oh, caller. Shucks. Caller, let me do this. I'm going to hang you up, but I want you to call right back. And the reason is I didn't connect the phone to the soundboard, so nobody's going to be able to hear our conversation. So just give me about 30 seconds and then call back, okay? Actually, I'll call you back, okay? Call. Good, just let me do that. Okay. Thanks. Okay, let me get that fixed up because I turned my phone off and it didn't make the Bluetooth connection to that. And we're going to call that guy back because that's the fair thing to do. Go back here and here we go. Yeah, there we go.
Hello there.
Hi. So you've reached Toby. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's the topic you want to talk about?
Well, this is Bob the Rooster.
Bob the Rooster. Do I need to play the rooster music for you, Bob, or are you going to tell us a story?
Oh, sure, if you like.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us the story first, and then I'll decide whether to play the rooster song for you.
Well, I had a question there, if anybody knows. I'm sure you probably do. I was wondering if anybody else had known about the closure, had any thoughts on Uncle Tom's trail down to the lower falls there. I was wondering if anybody knew about the closure there, and they were working on the steps there, I believe, and if anybody had any ideas of if it's going to open this spring again or not.
So I don't know. I don't have any information on it. Wasn't aware that they had made it. What is it? Is that going to keep you from getting to the treasure or what?
Well, it's a possibility because the measurements line up pretty accurately. It's the stairs, it doesn't take very long to get down them.
Yeah.
To the bottom. That getting up, you got to stop and take a break every once in a while. And I believe that's something that he possibly could have done. The measurements that I have are from the observation area to Uncle Tom's Trail is 500 feet. I believe it's 200 feet down.
Yeah.
That with the closure there, I think it's been closed for over a year now. And I don't believe that they're doing any major structural work. I did take a look, and there's some steps that are damaged, that everything's still intact there. I don't think it's anything majorly structural, but I was wondering if anybody had a chance to get down there and take a peek. There is a blaze on a tree down there.
Yeah.
At the lower platform, and that there's, I haven't heard any word whether anybody had checked that area out or not.
So just so people have a reference point, are you talking a national park, a state forest, a state park? What?
Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. It's the Yellowstone, the lower falls where the big waterfall's at, that goes into the canyon.
Right.
That's right there in Yellowstone,
and there's a trail that goes down into that. And you say the trail has been closed for a year?
It's been closed for at least a year, to my understanding, due to maintenance repairs on the stairs, and it doesn't seem like they're in any kind of hurry to open it up. I know there were some concerns. They had shut off the trail due to, I think, people, searchers, kind of getting into areas they shouldn't be getting into. I think that's one of the reasons why.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so the only thing I can suggest, I'll look to see, and I suggest, now that you've said so, maybe watch the room, see if anybody else has any other information on it. But I know that the Yellowstone National Park, on their park page, has a page that discusses closures and timeframes and projects and things like that. Have you checked that?
I had called the park, and they didn't have any ideas of when it would open up.
Oh, that's interesting. So they
Yeah.
didn't know?
I'm sorry?
They didn't have any idea? How do I look?
They didn't have an idea. There's some signs posted and some they have it barricaded with some signs due to the closure, but it doesn't say anything about searchers vandalizing or anything like that.
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
says that there's maintenance. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me again the trail name so we can share it with the room.
It's Uncle Tom's Trail.
Uncle Tom, that shouldn't be hard to remember. Uncle Tom's
Yeah.
Trail leading down to the lower Yellowstone Falls. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. If anybody in the room, or anybody who's viewing this video later has any information relating to the closing and eventual opening of the Uncle Tom's Trail leading to the lower falls on the Yellowstone in Yellowstone National Park, please either post it in the chat if you have any information for our searcher. Oh, what's your screen name so that they can kind of tag you in it?
My screen name?
The screen name in the chat room.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, you're a lurker? Are you a lurker?
I'm sorry?
You're a lurker? You don't chat?
Alert? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. That was not intended to be a criticism. Just a.
I understand. I've watched your guys' show quite a bit here lately.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about this hidden treasure until about a month and a half ago, and I've made a good couple trips to the Yellowstone area.
Wow. Where do you live? I thought you.
I live in Washington State here.
So you've made the drive to Yellowstone, huh?
I made 5 round trips, 18-hour round trips in a month and a half.
Wow, I'm impressed.
And I found some startling things, and I don't know if you've heard of anybody that's seen any type of markings on a rock. That I'm not going to say what type of marking I found, but I did find a very logical painting on a rock. That would tie into Forrest Fenn.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know if you've heard of any type of tribal type of little paintings on any type of rock.
Well, of course, if you do any search, any kind of traveling in the western states and the mountains in the western states, eventually you're going to see some petroglyphs or some pictographs. So that's not unusual that you might see them.
This one's modern. This was painted with a stencil and a paint can
In a national park.
I don't think I think it's out of the national park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because if that was done in the national park, that's breaking the law. You can't do that in a national park.
Yeah.
Well, we look forward to hearing more on your adventures. As you're not going to head out there anytime soon because of the weather, right?
No, I was there about a week ago, and I got snowed out. I went to Hebgen Lake and looked around the Hebgen Lake area. I walked around in the area where he logged, and right along the Hebgen Lake with
wow.
I think it was Peterson and somebody else, and I found some very unique trees that I thought might be an owl tree or something like that. There's 3 that were left standing, but there was nothing there significant. One had a nice little cubby dug at the base of a tree that a human being could have. I mean, I was able to get all the way in there up to about my hip.
Yeah.
And I ran my metal detector in there, and I looked in there with a flashlight and went over everything really thoroughly, and nothing came up. So that I'm scratching that one off my list for sure.
Right.
So, but I think if we can start all communicating with each other and start going through a process of elimination, I think that would be helpful to.
Well, go to gypsieskiss.com, and we've started a member vault where we're having those kinds of discussions. We had the first one tonight. It was a group discussion, kind of a whiteboarding session, if you will. A group discussion. So that's what we're trying to do with our member vault.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And also, one of the members in the room, it's actually one of our moderators, says, caller C. Rodney Greenway's videos. He's done that trail.
Oh, okay.
So check out, he's a YouTuber, Rodney Greenway.
Rodney?
Rodney, Rodney, Greenway.
Okay, Rodney Greenway. Okay.
Right. Check out his YouTube videos. He's actually a military professional. He's a United States Army Ranger, and he teaches at the Ranger School.
Okay.
So he's a pretty sharp guy.
Yeah, if he's a Ranger, he's definitely sharp and durable.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And you don't get to be a trainer without having accomplished it first, right? So.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right, exactly. Sir. Well, thanks for calling in this tonight, and good luck with your search. And anytime you take pictures and you care to share them, let us know. You can send me an email at gypsieskiss@gmail.com, and we'll share them with our fellow searchers.
Okay, yeah, I have some photos I may share. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Toby, we take care.
Roger, you take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.
Hey, guys, so if you call and you don't get in right away, just leave a voicemail, and what that does is it sets up a recent call, and I can call you back. So let me, so 925, I'm calling you back. How's that? Let's see if that works for us. Oh, 925 beat me to it. Oh, no, I'm calling in. Don't forget, leave a comment below last night's Gypsy's Kiss Fandango so you can win the silver coin. Has to be on that show. Probably doesn't recognize the number. Hello? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Toby, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
You may have to turn the volume on your computer down.
I'm just switching. Like, Toby, you called me back.
Yeah, I promised. I told people I was going to call you back if you didn't get me the first time. So what's your name? Where are you calling from? And what do you want to talk about?
Toby, it's Mike from San Francisco.
Oh, okay. All right, Mike. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry.
I'm
okay.
back on, and
so
I'm so happy you're doing this again.
Yeah, so we can finish our conversation.
Yeah, and what a wonderful conversation it was before.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier, like I always loved how you guys would kind of drill down on each of the clues, and I think we all agree, or our opinion is that it starts where, begin it where, and end at cease.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious if you're going to get back to that, and like kind of quiz folks on where they think each clue might be. Do you think what are the 9 clues between there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you would have loved this. So the conversation that's going on in our members vault, we're covering the book a chapter at a time. We started with a preface tonight. Yeah. And at the end of each one, we ask the members, we make our statement first. And then we ask the members, what did you get out of this? And we want to know, we're looking for the aberrations around the edge that give us hints, or the hints, or give us help with the clues, or the hints in the book that give us help with the clues. But because we're all stuck at the same place. I mean, 3 out of the 4 people that were in our, not 4 people, but 3 out of the members that we had tonight all said, I don't know what Warm Waters Halt means. That's kind of the book that I'm in, that I'm guessing, right? For the longest time, my New Mexico theory is Warm Waters Halt have to do with the New Mexico fishing regulations. For my Montana theory, Warm Waters Halt...
Well, hang on, Toby. Hang on for a moment.
Okay.
So, like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 100 years from now, where we would not necessarily know the New Mexico fishing regulations, why would you think that is where Warm Waters Halt?
Look at you. I love when somebody asks me that question because I have an answer. You ready for it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's say you were looking for a treasure that was loaded upon a Spanish galleon in Colombia in 1742, and the last time it was seen, it was off the coast of Florida by 200 miles in 1743. Would you be looking shipping records today, or would you be looking at shipping records in 1742 and 1743?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I was using the New Mexico State New Mexico State Game and Fish regulations for my Warm Waters Halt, I wouldn't be looking at records 10 years from now, or 100 years from now, not that I'm going to be alive, or 1,000 years from now. I would be looking at the state game and fish regulations for 2009, 2010.
At that year, sure.
Right, where Warm Waters Halt is correctly defined. I'll have you know that in the most recent edition of that book, Warm Waters is not defined. So you'd have to have the 2009, 2010 edition only to find warm waters in that book.
Yeah.
Because it's already gone from the book. So your point is well made, but are you going to research, let's say you're 10 years from now, are you going to research fishing regulations from 2029? Or are you going to do what Uncle Toby suggests and go back to 2010?
Yeah, and I see your point there, but what I'm thinking about is maybe it has nothing to do with anything it has nothing to do with anything like that. Anything like warm waters as defined in the fishing regulation in this year. Maybe it's more abstract than that. Maybe it has to do where warm waters halt, where rain.
Yeah.
Where the tree line is, for example,
or where the glaciers melt. Yeah. No, I'm not suggesting that mine is correct. What I'm suggesting is that mine is no less correct than any others because nobody else has the treasure, right?
Gotcha.
So we're all entitled to our own theories. We are not entitled. I'm going to repeat something. We are not entitled to our own facts.
If you were in New Mexico and that was your only salt, and you were to take away fishing regulations, where do warm waters halt in New Mexico?
Oh, well, they halt. Well, I can go on like forever. So you have to look at the fishing regulations because...
No. Take away the fishing regulations.
Oh. So you don't have the fishing regulations?
You don't have them and they don't matter. So halt maybe. Yeah. Of course, this is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous at this point. A waterfall halt,
Yeah.
You're an intelligence guy, so, like halt is like straight up and down. So you think waterfall. But maybe you take that away, and maybe you think warm waters halt. Where does the rain stop? The rain stops on the ground.
Yeah.
Maybe a mountaintop.
Yeah. So I could I could work out that theory and each step along the way. So in intelligence, since you brought it up, one of the things that you do is you measure the value of the intelligence and the value of the source of the intelligence, right?
Yes.
So as of right now, your intelligence is on a scale of A through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A through E, and 1, 3, 3, 5. That direction that you're heading is already at C3, right? You're already at C3. So what I want is firsthand intelligence. So I have Forrest Fenn, the fisherman, say warm waters. I Google warm waters, and what I get back is the New Mexico fishing regulations.
Yeah. Interesting.
Does that mean it's correct? Does that mean it's correct?
No.
I can't tell you that. It's only a theory. But it's no better or worse than any other theory since none of us, and I keep saying this, since none of us has the treasure. The minute my theory becomes fact is when I show you a picture of the treasure.
Yes, absolutely. Right? Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just hung up on that point because I think the hint and the thrill of the chase lead you to believe warm waters halt. And I forget the name of the chapter, but I'm thinking, who is the woman whose ashes he is spreading from his plane?
Olga. She's mentioned in the most recent.
And he talks about Taos Mountain, and there is no Taos Mountain, but he talks. So if warm waters, if life halts at a specific point, and he's spreading ashes outside of that plane window, where would they end first? Where would they end first?
Are you asking me to tell you?
I'm asking you
because you're asking me to validate your theory. I can't do that.
No. I'm looking for your opinion.
Let's go back. Okay, all right, for opinions. So let's start. There is a mountain that is north and east of Taos that people refer to as Taos Mountain. There is such a mountain.
And what peak is that?
I don't remember.
Wheeler.
No, it isn't Wheeler.
Oh, okay.
No, they refer to it as it's Baldy, because it's bald on top, right? You can see the end of the tree line, but that's Taos Mountain.
Oh, okay.
Now, a good portion of that mountain is on tribal land, so You got to cross tribal land to get there.
Oh,
That's
but
the first thing.
10 miles from there?
Well, 10 miles from there, I don't know. We're theorizing, right? I'm just telling you. Asked me where is Taos Mountain. Taos Mountain is north and west. The other thing that you have to remember about that story is when he dumped those ashes, he wasn't even sure he dumped them on Taos Mountain.
Of course.
He dumped them someplace in the Rockies, somewhere in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
And he was north of Santa Fe.
Yeah. So interesting. So for me, when I think of that, I think of like, if you can't fly and you need to look down at all of essentially the New Mexico Rocky Mountains, where would you be? You'd be at Wheeler Peak. And maybe Wheeler Peak, which was often referred to as Taos Mountain, as where warm waters halt.
I have never heard Wheeler Peak being referred to as Taos Mountain until you just said it, and as one of my moderators just said in the room.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. So I could absolutely be wrong. I thought, some research is like, the high. Well, I mean, certainly Wheeler Peak is the highest mountain, the highest peak in New Mexico.
In New Mexico.
Yeah. So if you were a pilot and you were thinking of taking in the canyon down, the highest point in New Mexico would be there.
I'm trying to see if there's any reference to Wheeler Peak being Taos Mountain. I don't see it.
I think there is. I think there is.
I don't disagree with you. It's the tallest mountain in New Mexico, but I just don't. At 13,161 feet.
Wheeler Peak is the highest peak in New Mexico.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like Taos Mountain. Hang on. Just a minute. Ta-ta, images. Yeah, that does not look, that's not Taos Mountain. I'm telling you guys. Taos Mountain is Blvd. Hold on.
And it may be. I don't know. I don't think there is any. I mean, he refers to it in his book, The Thrill of the Chase. He refers to Taos Mountain and says there is no Taos Mountain.
There's a Taos Mountain if you live in Taos. I spent my summers in Taos. And they used to refer to the bald mountain above Taos as Taos Mountain. That's my experience. I don't have any evidence of that.
Yeah. You're breaking up a little bit, Toby.
Oh, okay. I'll try.
It may be my phone. I'm not sure, but
well, I'm on on my side. I'm on what do you call it? Voice over IP.
Okay. I hear you. I just love the fact that you're so logical about this all.
Logical. If I was logical, I would have found this damn thing. I haven't found it.
Well, maybe. I don't know. So for me, I talked to you earlier tonight. From San Francisco. I have been out there. I went out there twice on 6 different solves. Of course, 4 of those different solves were figuring it out while I was there.
Yeah. Did I lose you?
Got me there. We're completely wrong.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm like, okay, you know what? I think, and every one of them had, my starting point almost as right. So now my starting point is Wheeler Peak, where warm waters halt. So I'm going to head out there, I think.
You got a canyon down? So you got warm waters halt. Do you have a canyon down?
Sure. I mean, canyon down. I mean, I'm at the peak. I'm at Wheeler Peak. I mean, so everything is down from there.
So you think our 80-year-old... Oh, okay. So you're just using it.
Yeah.
So here we go. It is very likely that Fenn was never got there because that peak is at 13,161 feet. That's a tough climb for an 80-year-old, don't you think?
Yeah. No, I don't think he ever went there. I think he
mapped it.
The poem from his ending point, not his beginning point. He knew where it ended, and the beginning point was, so then he went and looked at maps, and the beginning point was where warm waters halt. Too far to walk, 10 miles. So what's 10 miles from where warm waters halt? If where warm waters halt in New Mexico is the largest peak in New Mexico. Start from there. Where he didn't have to walk from Killer Peak. He said, begin at where warm water salt and take it in the canyon now. Look, take it in. Look. Begin at where warm water salt and take it in. Look where warm water salt. What does he see from the top?
Are you asking me the question?
Peak? No. I'm saying, what does he see from the top of where warm water salt? And then maybe it's 10 miles from there. So I think he reverse engineered his poem and the salt. He knew where he needed to be, and then he looked at the map and said, okay, where could the starting point be from here? And it doesn't mean he had to walk 10 miles from where the starting point was. Because he said it's too far to walk.
So are you trying to convince me, or are you trying to convince yourself?
No. I'm not. Okay. I'm trying to pique your brain because I know you're super smart.
No. Yeah, I am not any smarter in this search than anybody else.
Oh, but
as a matter of fact, there are lots of people that are smarter about this than I am.
Yeah, but Toby, you've been the most logical. I've seen all the other websites and it's just like other folks are ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're thinking about this from a very logical point of view.
Well, yeah, but that's because I'm left brain. I don't have a choice.
Yeah. So, I don't know how we started on this, but
you called. I would just say, that's where I called you back.
I know you did, but where do you if you were in New Mexico, only New Mexico, not the other 3 states, you're in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Where do warm waters halt in New Mexico? And hang on, and take away the name of anything else, or the fact that there's hot springs or special trout waters. Take away all of that. Because Forrest is saying 1,000 years from now, maybe they'll find it.
Right.
With only the clues. So if with only the clues, they find it 1,000 years from now, why would a hot spring or the confluence of 2 rivers exist in 1,000 years? Why wouldn't that be some massive geographic figure that we know won't go away 1,000 years from now?
All right. So do you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
That's why we use the Colorado-New Mexico border.
You broke up a little bit. That's why we use the Colorado-New Mexico what?
The border between Colorado and New Mexico is where warm water salt.
Because there are no warm waters in Colorado. So you're saying south of the border of Colorado?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And you know what it's going to be?
Let me. Okay,
Toby, there's a very good chance that it's going to be there in 1,000 years.
Yes. Well, how long did the Roman Empire last?
A lot longer than we're going to last. But let's try and cut us some slack.
We may not 1,000 years.
We may not make it to the next election. So let's not push that.
And we won't
storyline very far.
Right. But seriously, think about this. Do you really think that the border between Colorado and New Mexico is going to be there in 1,000 years from now?
It doesn't have to be. It only has to be there until I find the treasure.
But he's not thinking of the internet, looking back.
And he has so much as said that. He has so much as said that the likelihood of you being able to find it in 1,000 years with either the book or the poem is almost non-existent.
Okay.
He admits that in 1,000 years, he can't in 1,000 years predict the amount of change we're going to experience. We've got an asteroid headed toward us that's supposed to hit the Earth or glance the Earth in 2029. We'll be lucky to make it past that, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean to be the portent of doom.
You're spot on. My thought is if there was any change in the future other than geographic change, that I wipe that away. So a border, I wipe it away. A book that somebody wrote, I wipe it away. a metaphor, I wipe it away.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking
the only treasures
geographic
that have been found after having been lost for any length of time, 200, 300 years, were found accidentally. And they were found because of the evolution of technology. So the evolution of technology and the fact that they were found I told you I made you listen to the story of the Spanish galleon that that was discovered accidentally by the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute boat that was actually mapping the sea floor.
Yeah.
And one night they noticed an anomaly. And they discovered a $17 billion treasure that is still in the courts, in the international courts, to determine whether it belongs to Colombia or to Spain. It doesn't belong to anybody else because they're claiming it. But it was found accidentally because of technology. When Fenn's treasure, I predict today, I'm going to make this prediction. When Fenn's treasure is found, it will be found accidentally and because of the evolution of technology.
Oh, wow. So super interesting. I don't necessarily agree.
It's my opinion. You don't have to agree.
Yeah, no. That's phenomenal. And I love that you're there with that. So for me, I chose purely geographic regions. Actually, geographic spots on Earth, and then going back to your old videos, it's a place, it's a direction, it's a distance, it's a place, it's a direction, it's a distance, and then look down. Yeah. So I'm right there, and thanks to you guys. But I love that you're thinking there now because for me it's way out of the box. Yeah. So that's super cool. Yeah. Oh. So appreciative of y'all.
Well, I'm glad that
certainly your logical thinking, just like, wow, this is just super great. And there's so many weirdos out there that are like doing different things. But I appreciate it.
We love we call them crazy birds, but we love them.
No, I don't want to do that. But I appreciate you and your thinking, and I love your service, and thank you for that.
My pleasure. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah. Hey, so Toby. So I'm on the cusp of, flying from San Francisco out there to New Mexico, and I want to do it now within the next 2 weeks. I'm concerned about the snow.
Yeah, we've got weather coming in tonight. Yeah, literally. And the reason I know is because Kevin works at the airport. Shelley's husband. Yeah, works at the airport, so he's got kind of a finger on the pulse of the weather. He works for Southwest Airlines. Yeah, and so he said, northern New Mexico is expecting a storm this evening.
I am concerned about that, but I really don't want to. I mean, I've been out there twice on 6 different boots on the ground, but I don't feel like I want to wait until like May. I'm thinking like, hey, let me just go now and figure this out.
Well, depending on our winter, May may be too early, depending on the winter.
Oh, so like you're like June at this point.
The last time we went out, we went in May, and we could not get to our search area in southern Colorado. We had to wait till
Mine is 0.6 miles off the road.
Oh, well, is it a forest road or a paved road?
It's not a paved road. Oh, it's we
were on a forest road, and in May we were stopped. We couldn't get through the forest road because it was still snow ridden.
All right, I'll check the weather. I will check. I appreciate you, Toby.
Just check the weather, okay? Don't do anything rash.
I definitely will, and I love you guys. I appreciate you. You've got this analytical mind that's just kind of like, hey, I'm having fun with this, and thank you, brother.
My pleasure. Thank you, brother. Thanks for calling in.
You take care.
You do it again.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, I sure will. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was fun. Hey, no caller ID. I'm not going to answer any call that doesn't have a caller ID, FYI. That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I need to see your number at least. You don't have to give me any additional identification, but I do need to see your phone number. So that way, if you make a threat against my life, I can report you to the police. Let's see. What is Sassy? Sassy says, reference number 3, Wheeler Peak, geographic name information. Oh, wait a minute. She's giving me she says, formerly named Taos Peak after the nearby town of Taos, New Mexico. It was renamed Wheeler Peak in 1950. So Wheeler Peak and Taos Peak are the same, but they are not the same as Taos Mountain. Work on that one. Go work on where is Taos Mountain. All right, let's play some music, sisters and brothers. This one's called Ipanema Daydream by Bird Creek. All right, so I ran out of water. I'm going to go get some water. You guys just listen to the music for a moment. Don't call in. I'm not going to be near the phone. Oh, what timing right at the end of the song. Good timing there. Hi, you've reached Toby. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what is your observation or question, I suppose? Hello? Oops, they hung up on us. So Greg sent me a text message. Greg in Rochester, watching at work but can't log in to chat on work desktop. Lurking tonight. Great idea for the 10 p.m. call-in show. Ah, well, thank you, Greg. Greg is one of our moderators. So, Sassy, you sent me an MP3 file. Let me take a look at that. I'm gonna put some more music on while I'm doing that until I get another call. This is One Last Time by South London Hi-Fi. Check the mail while that's Hey, you've reached Toby. Toby at 10. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your observation?
Hi, Toby. This is Lulybell.
Hi, Lulybell. How are you doing? The famous namer of Fenbury? No. Wait. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Function at the Junction. Now I remember. Yeah. How are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm getting over the flu.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I've been pretty sick.
You need to get those flu shots.
I haven't had a flu shot in 20 years.
Well, that explains why you got the flu then.
I haven't had the flu, though, and I haven't had a cold in 7 years.
Oh, so. I don't get colds. I
got sick. I got worn down. I was ready to go to Yellowstone when the weather was nice, and I couldn't make it. So, and then I was going to go tomorrow, and there's a lot of snow in West Yellowstone right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think the season is done based on the amount of snow that they received in West Yellowstone.
Yeah, a lot of people were there this last week, but they've left.
Uh-huh.
But I have a question for you. It's something I've thought about, and I remember Forrest saying something about it, but I couldn't find anything on it, and you may remember it or someone else. But Remember when the gentleman that died rafting down the Rio Grande? I can't remember his name right now.
Randy Billiou.
Randy, right. Well, when, Forrest, of course, that was a very upsetting thing. But I remember Forrest making a statement that he said something about where he was. He said that was the wrong direction. It was too far, like east or something like that. Do you remember him saying that?
So
he said that he wasn't following the direction or something.
I think that's what he said about Randy Billiou, but I don't think it was until Paris Wallace died when Forrest finally had to give in and kind of give people the sense that he said that it's not in the Rio Grande, and the Rio Grande isn't even in the Rocky Mountains.
I can hardly hear you a little bit.
Sorry.
I don't know why.
Hang on. Let me just turn that up again. How's that? Is that better?
Turn up a little bit.
Yeah. How's that?
Oh, that's better.
I don't want to go too loud on the other side because then I start blowing out my the guys that are listening on the other end. So what I said was I don't think he made a comment about what he was doing until Paris Wallace passed away, and that's when he said when Fenn said. Giving some advice to potential searchers, the treasure is not in the Rio Grande, and the Rio Grande isn't even in the Rocky Mountains. And he's right. If you look at a map, it's not. It's in the Rio Grande Rift, which is not in the Rocky Mountains. It separates two branches of the Rocky Mountains. So I think that was the point that he made. He did make a comment about it was too far east because I said something after that said that was I made a comment on one of our shows that said I didn't think the treasure was west of the east bank of the Rio Grande. And, of course, that was just crazy birds. But that's when he talked about the Rio Grande not being in the right location.
Yeah, well, if you go up north towards Taos area and some of the areas around there have been being searched in the mountains, it seems like that's kind of east, too, that way. Well, I'm just wondering if...
Yeah, if you're looking, so you're still in the Sangre de Cristos. If you're looking, say, east of Taos, right? Taos is at the foot of the Sangre de Cristos. The Sangre de Cristos are considered a branch of the Rocky Mountains. The problem with that area is it's hard to know when you're on public land, tribal land, and private land, because once you're at that point, you're pretty much on public and tribal. I'm sorry, private and tribal land. The only place that you're not is when you're in the forest. That's part of the Carson National Forest. So you have to be literally in the mountains. I remember there was a searcher that was going down the Arroyo Hondo, which is a river that dumps into the Rio Grande at John Dunn Bridge. And he got in trouble because along that river, along the Arroyo Hondo, until you get into about 300 yards from where it enters the Rio Grande, that's all private property. Wow. That's why that BLM, the BLM map is really important in New Mexico.
Yeah. I've never searched in New Mexico, so I really am really unfamiliar with it. But I was thinking because of the recent scrapbooks that, he was, with the chaos and people. And people thought that he was referring to the chaosness of people going up to search in the weather and the characters that were up there that are in the chase, and people thought that it was related to them. And then he came up with a scrapbook again about, mentioning Olga and I just thought, is he trying to tell us something? Is he trying to say that, hey, maybe, he's trying to say that we're looking in the wrong area. It's chaotic. Why are you up there?
Yeah.
And he was kind of bringing our attention back down to some things in New Mexico. And I'm just kind of wondering, maybe it is in New Mexico. I've never personally thought it was in New Mexico, but it's not convenient for me to search in New Mexico. I'm 3 hours from the Yellowstone area. So,
right.
of course, I'm hopeful that it's in that area because that's accessible to me. But I've looked outside of the Yellowstone area as well in Montana and in Wyoming over the last 7 years. So I haven't had a lot of trips, but the ones that I've made have been really important to me. But I'm planning on going and traveling a lot more. I closed my gallery down after 25 years last week, and I was hoping to get out there this fall, but with the weather and then catching the flu, it just really set me back. So now I'm just making big plans for next year and keeping my fingers crossed.
So, what kind of gallery did you own?
Well, I owned a rock and mineral and jewelry gallery.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for 25 years in the Sun Valley area of Idaho, which, Forrest has some connections up here too, and I've met people up here that knew him. Right. And he used to come up and visit. He had some friends up here that were also gallery owners. So it's interesting. I'm really excited. I'm going into semi-retirement. I'm not completely retiring, but I'm planning on, getting down to New Mexico too. I really would love to spend more time there. I haven't been to Santa Fe in 25 years, and I would just love to go. I'm really excited about it. Well, so maybe, who knows? Maybe he's saying, "What do you think? Do you think that the treasure is in New Mexico?"
Are you asking me that as a question?
Yeah.
My opinion is that there's a 75% probability that it's in New Mexico and a 25% probability that it's in Montana.
Oh, Montana. Yeah, I guess I'm leaning more towards Wyoming, but myself. But I'm starting to open up, my eyes and really listen. Trying to figure it out. I'm so unfamiliar with New Mexico. I haven't looked there. I've looked a little bit in Colorado.
Well, and certainly New Mexico, the northern part of New Mexico, and areas in the Rocky Mountains, both especially the Carson National Forest, is very, much like Montana or Wyoming in the mountains there.
Yeah.
So I think if you make a trip up into that area, you'll find it very interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah, I was trying to remember what he said, and because I've thought about that area around Taos up there, but I didn't really realize. I've really got to get some maps and look at it. I didn't really realize that there was a lot of private property.
Yeah,
there.
I strongly recommend, because they're all the maps that are produced by the BLM are done by quadrant. Right, geographic quadrant, and so it's real easy to see where the differences are. The private land is white, the tribal land is kind of orange, and once you look at you lay out, and I don't have it handy right now, but there's a full-size map of New Mexico, and with the BLM designations for land ownership, and it's very obvious there's not a lot of public land in New Mexico, in northern New Mexico. As a matter of fact, once you get east of Cimarron, then most of that is private. The area between Cimarron and Taos, a lot of that is private. So there's very little public land in northern New Mexico. It's pretty distinctive when you see it, and it tends to be, in the case of New Mexico, it tends to be in the national forests. The rest of it's been, New Mexico goes back to the land grant days, and the grants, the Moreno Valley, which is that area slightly west and north of Eagle Nest, heading up towards Red River. That Moreno Valley is land grant land. It was privately owned. Now it has been subdivided and resold. But it's still all private land. That's why when people say Moreno is brown, which is one of the Spanish words for brown, it's not used as often. You look at it, all you have to do is look at that map, and you'll see that the Moreno Valley is private property, private land.
Yeah, it seems like New Mexico was really what, like little areas you say that there are, have really been searched.
Yeah.
Extensively.
Well,
I mean,
the challenge with this treasure is you're still looking for a 10 by 10 box in 124,000 square miles, right? So you can search the heck out of it. That's why it takes multiple searches, because you're not going to find it in one try. Even if you get, my opinion is that if you get to say, if you've been wise and found the blaze, or if you're in a place that's comfortable for you, that is heavy loads and water's high, you've still got a lot of searching to do for a 10 by 10 box. Just take a 10 by 10 box with you the next time you're up there. Put it someplace. Have somebody put it someplace. Tell them to put it within 100 yards of the car. Have them come back to the car. Look for that box. It's just
amazing how much stuff he put in one little box.
Yeah.
It just amazes me.
It is a challenging thing to do, because the area that we were last searching in New Mexico along the Rio de los Pinos, you can go up to the Rio de los Pinos, or actually down the Rio de los Pinos, all the way to the opening to the Toltec Gorge, where it just gets too risky for an 80-year-old man, for a 70-year-old or 80-year-old man. As you just look around, you can sit. I sat there one day. We had brought a journalist with us, and he was bouncing around the rocks, and he asked me, where should I look? And I said, every nook and cranny on that far side over there. And he turned around and he looked at all the nooks and crannies. He said, that would take a lifetime. I said, that's why I'm sitting here and you're over there. Because it would. I mean, when you consider how small that box is and all the potential places you could put it in without burying it, but you wouldn't stumble over it, it just leaves thousands, literally, of options in a very small area.
Well, you can understand why so many people get frustrated and just give up, because it is, the search after search.
Yeah.
And
well, there's more of us that have gotten frustrated and not given up, which may be a little bit crazier, like.
Yeah, I've taken a few breaks,
I think taking a break.
You just put it down.
Yeah, I think taking a break is a wise thing to do. It refreshes your mind. Go back, read the book, read the poem, read the book some more, read the poem. Do all the stuff he says, and then come back with a fresh perspective. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't think of anything else that I was going to talk about, but I know you've got other people that want to.
Oh, they'll call in. I've got another. I'm going to do this for 2 hours, so they'll call in eventually.
Oh, you are? Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised. I didn't know you were doing this. I kind of heard something about it, and then
I didn't either.
Popped up on my.
I didn't either until about 3 or 4 nights ago, and I talked to Shelley, and I said, "What do you think about this?" And she said, "You're crazy." And I said, "Well, yes, I know that, but what do you think about it?" She said, "Well, I'm going to be home." She said, "I'm going to be home in bed, so you're on your own."
Well, I like the vibe and the music. I'm a night owl myself, so it works for me.
Yeah.
To tune in at night. That's when I really, have some free time.
It is rare that I get to bed before midnight anyway. So.
Yeah, me too. Well, this is the first time I've ever called in on a show like this.
Well, good. Good. It's a great way.
Now you know how it works.
You know how easy it is, and you can do it again.
I was really surprised I got through.
Yeah. Well, that's the only problem is you're seeing a delay of about 30 seconds, and sometimes you'll call in, and it doesn't say the line is busy. It just says you can't get in. I can see somebody calling in. So what I've decided to do is I'll call you back. I'll call you. If you call in and you don't, and I'm talking to somebody, I'll call you back.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to get down there. One of my goals in life, I guess on my bucket list, is to be able to go and meet Forrest. I really missed out. I couldn't get down to Blvd this year.
Yeah.
I was doing an art show and I just couldn't get down there, but I really wanted to. So I hope I didn't miss, the opportunity. I'm hoping that he'll be down there.
Yeah, he's getting more, I don't want to say defensive. Defensive is not the right word. More reserved, I guess, as he gets older and his family wants him to step down.
Yeah, he's slowing down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he's been so generous with his fun.
Right.
And I've learned a lot. I've learned more in my life in the last few years.
I think that's true for all of us that have taken an interest. There are areas that I now I'm familiar with that I had, from geology to paleontology to ancient artifacts to, I've learned more in the past 6 years about things that I had absolutely no interest in than any time before.
Yeah, it's funny how it works that way. When you're a kid in school and they're trying to
explain it all.
Cram Lewis and Clark down your throat and history in the 8th grade, and you're like, oh God, no, please not this. And now it's like I can't get enough of Lewis and Clark.
Right.
I really have an interest. I've learned, so much from it.
Well, I can tell you the number of times that in some American history class, I specifically ignored the chapter that was entitled "The Expansion West."
Sure.
The Great Western Expansion. So, I think we all did that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
So I just got a text.
Are you part Native? Are you part Native American?
Yeah, you know what? And I found out today. So I got an update. So as they continue to improve the technology, I got an update. Let me see if I can read this. I got an update on my. Rats! I have to be in my other account. How can I do this? I go to an incog. I just got an update on my DNA. And I am 12.5% Native American. So hang on a sec. But they gave me some other stuff that I didn't know. There's some new stuff. Like I have some. Hang on. Let's see. How can I do this? Let me see if I can open it up in this account. I got to open it up in my personal account right now. I'm in a Gypsy's Kiss. So. And I just got this. So they're always updating it, and they're letting me know every once in a while. They ask you if you want to participate in some research. Let's see if I didn't throw it away here. 23andMe, hang on. It says your ancestry report, composition report has been updated. So let me see if I can share this with you guys. So you can see how detailed it is. And then what I do is I share this with my kids so that they can know what's going on. Hang on, signing in. Okay. So they've got me 100%, but I'm going to do a screenshot so you guys can see this. Because I know you're interested in my ancestry. Okay, so the relationship is the colors are related to the sections on the map, right? So the blue part of me is related to these blue parts, the European part. So it says I'm 42% Southern European, 32% of that. I'm 32% Spanish and Portuguese. And what's really interesting is that most of it comes from Castile and Leon. And that's the part where they speak with the lisp in their S. Then I'm 2% Northern. This is the Scandinavian. I'm 0.3% Scandinavian. So you can see that in my blue eyes and blonde hair. I had been told. So the story that goes along with this is I had been told my entire life I was 75% Spanish and 25% Arabic, Lebanese specifically. Turns out I'm only 42% Spanish. Right? Not 75%. And that I have there's the Arab, Egyptian, and Levantine. So I am the 25% Arabic that they said I was. I am very close to that. So it starts getting sticky wicket in the Spanish part of me. And that comes out East Asian and Native American. I'm 12.7%. And I can almost tell you specifically where that came from. It came from my grandmother on my father's side, who I always thought looked Native American. Turns out she was. So my father was 25. She was half. And her mother, my great-grandmother was 100% Native American. And so I started tracking down the story. Well, part of the story was when I was a little boy, I would say to my Aunt Lita, who was our only, I didn't know at the time, I thought she was just single and rowdy. She turned out, later on I realized she was our only lesbian. But I used to say to Aunt Lita, why does Grandma look like an Indian? Because I didn't know any better. I was a child. And my Aunt Lita would say, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. And so it was a subject that was not discussed in my family. But now that I can look back, I have pictures of my grandmother, and she looks Native American. She was 50% my great-grandmother. But here's the bad news. Don Tomas, who was my great-grandfather, was apparently a Comanchero. I don't know if you know what that means. A Comanchero.
I couldn't really hear it. Say it again.
Comanchero. Comanchero was
I don't know what that is.
Right. He was a Spaniard that used to raid the Indian tribes for slave workers. So my great-grandfather kidnapped my great-grandmother and produced my grandmother from that relationship. That's where I got my 12.7% Native American. So, yeah, these things.
It's fascinating to learn about all that stuff. I haven't done mine yet. I have it. I just haven't done it. Send it in. So yeah. I'm going to.
Send it in. It's amazing because then you can share it with your kids. So what I did with my kids is I give for their for Christmas about 3 years ago, I gave it to one of them so that they could figure it out. Well, I had to divide it by spouses, right? Because I had 3 spouses. Let's not talk about that. So I had to divide it by spouses. But my daughters, the last 3, all came from the same spouse. And so I sent them one of them a kit so that they could figure out between her and, because we knew what I was, and between her and her kit, they could figure out what percentages they came from their mother. And it turns out that their mother didn't even know. She was Eastern European and Irish. Wow. So that was quite a mix.
That's really.
Okay, I won't bore anybody anymore with my DNA.
Well, yeah, we're a little off the subject now, but that's fascinating, though. I always thought you were Native American. I know, especially, the Native American people don't really care to learn about Lewis and Clark that much, but
yeah, no,
it is interesting.
The dichotomy, of course, the irony is that I'm Spanish and Native American, and so I've got the irony of the Spanish that came in and destroyed most of the Native American cultures in the Southwest, yet I ended up part of it, so. Not enough to...
Well, one other thing I wanted to mention was...
You just said that about 5 minutes ago, so, okay, this is the one other thing.
What do you think, like, in Tea with Olga, what's the emphasis on the different colored teas? What do you think that means? Okay,
so I could tell you, but we're coming up to that chapter in our member vault to discuss that, and I have some opinions, and if you want to see what I think about it, go back to the video where we talk about that chapter, because in that video, I say specifically what I think about that, about the 3 T's.
Which video was that one?
It's our video, and it's in the playlist called Thrill of the Chase Book Club.
Oh, okay.
And there's a chapter in each one of there's a chapter in that playlist. There's a video in that playlist dedicated to each chapter. So Tea with Olga has its own chapter, its own video. The only one we had to do more was when we did My War for Me, because it was so long we had to do 7 videos on it. But yeah, go take a look at that video, and I say pretty specifically what I think about it.
Yeah, I just think it really stands out. I think he's really hinting of something. I mean, it's definitely, there's something there, and I really haven't, I have a couple ideas, but I haven't really figured it out.
So what I used to do,
with the new scrapbook that came out yesterday, I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
thinking about it a lot more again.
What I like to do is what sticks out to me, and I don't mean what sticks out verbally. I mean, when I'm reading that chapter, where do I stop and go, what the hell? Where did that come from? Anytime he does that to me, it's like my best example is the gardener after he talks about the treasure, and suddenly Captain Kidd pops up in a book that's not about pirates. You go like, what? Where did that come from?
Yeah. It's interesting.
That has always stuck out like a sore thumb to me.
All right. Well, I need to get off the phone. I'm a full-time caregiver to my handicapped sister, so she's calling me. And
yeah, you've left her for 26 minutes and 30 seconds. You should probably get back.
Yeah, she's fine.
Right.
She's well cared for. But anyway, yeah, I should get off the phone. But thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
And I would like to, I'll call in again.
We look forward to it.
Sometime.
We look forward to it.
No. All right. Well,
have
a good evening, and I'll be tuning in for the rest of the show.
Okie doke.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Lulibelle. So this is called Cancun. So keep in mind, this is silver searcher coin number 32. The person that won it the last time we gave it out, never checked in, never sent us his email. Still try to reach out to him tonight, but not there. So we're giving this away again, and all you have to do to participate in the drawing is make a comment on the earlier show tonight. That is the Forrest Fenn Hump Day Hoedown. Not on this one. I'm not going to do this one. When we do it on commentpicker.com, it's going to be on the video that Shelley and I made earlier tonight, and we'll do that drawing next Wednesday for Silver Searcher Coin 2019, number 32. I love giveaways, huh? So when I was in college, I was at the University of New Mexico, and I used to have my own late-night smooth jazz show. And I used to do the same thing. We'd take calls, and they'd talk about everything. College kids can talk about anything. So, I don't know, Sassy sent me a piece of music but warned me that it was country and western, and Sassy, is this copyrighted material? Because I can't play if it's copyrighted. Don't you love those guitar endings like that? This is We Share This by Freedom Trail Studios. It's got kind of a country vibe to it, doesn't it? Phone lines are open if anybody wants to call in, talk about smooth jazz, treasure hunting. I feel like my room should be darker for this gig, but then I lose my green screen, so got to do the lighting. So I'm going to do this. Hang on. Exposure. No, that's not going to work. Everything's going to go dark. Oh, yeah, that's not me. Got a call from Terre Haute, Indiana. Hey, you've reached Toby. What's your name? Where are you calling from? From Terre Haute, apparently. And what's your question? Hi there. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah. Hello?
Hi. Who's this?
My name's Alicia.
Alicia, spelled A-L-I-C-I-A, Alicia?
A-L-Y-S-I-A.
Oh, very nice. So how are you doing tonight, Alicia?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for asking. What's up?
I just had a question, and it's probably a really dumb one, but the lady before was talking about like the land ownership stuff, and what about like nonprofit, like like if the property is owned by like a nonprofit corporation, is that? Do you know what I mean? Like
I do, and I'll give you an exact example.
Okay.
But first of all, I wanted to address your question, which said that it might be stupid. The only stupid question is the unanswered question.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And even better, the only really stupid question is the one unasked.
Is the one what?
Unasked.
Oh, okay.
So ask those
questions.
questions.
Well, then I have a genius question about...
Okay. Well, let's answer this first one. So there's land ownership is not dependent upon the legal status of the person that owns the land. Classic example, there's an area above the Cimarron called the Philmont Scout Ranch. The Boy Scouts of America are categorized as a nonprofit organization, but they own that land. And if you look deeply into the records for land ownership for that property, it is owned by, the title holder for that land is the Boy Scouts of America Tax Department. So it doesn't make any difference that they're a nonprofit. They still own the land.
Okay.
They have the title to the land. So some of them, you'll see a lot of land in New Mexico, especially some of the farm and range land that's owned by corporations. That's owned by corporations, limited liability or full type S corporations. So yeah, it doesn't make any difference who the owner is. It's whose name the title of that property is in. In the case
who
of
owns the National Historic Places?
Those anything that has national in front of it like that
is government.
Is primarily the responsibility of the National Park Service. The National Park Service administers literally hundreds of pieces, maybe even thousands of pieces of property, each of which there are 21 different types of property administered by the National Park Service. So, for example, Chaco Canyon, which is a National Historic Monument, is owned by the National Park, is administered by the National Park Service. So they fall under the same set of regulations. No drones, no metal detectors, no digging, those kinds of things. So if you're not sure, just go to the nps.gov, and in there's a list of all the pieces of property, and it doesn't have to be a National Park Service like Yellowstone. Yellowstone is a national park. Chaco Canyon, petroglyphs here in New Mexico. There are several locations that are administered by the National Park Service and fall under the same set of regulations.
Gotcha.
Governing their utilization.
Do you not think that he would ever hide it or have put it there, and that's why he said Terry Scant, like, get out of there? Because it is in a place where... That's
interesting. The Terry Scant could indicate that you're in a place where you shouldn't be, therefore get out of there. Get out of town.
Yeah.
I do not think so. He mentions that he spent, I think, $8,000 talking to lawyers about the various land ownership issues. So honestly, considering the time that I've spent with lawyers, $8,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money to spend on lawyers. But he did that and then made a decision on where he was going to put it after that. My sense is that one of the things, he made the poem hard. He made finding the treasure hard. I can't imagine that as hard as this treasure is to find, as small as it is, and all the possible places in those hundreds of thousands of square miles of mountains north of Santa Fe that it could be, that he would double the effect or double the difficulty by putting in a place where you might have to fight for it.
I agree. I always thought that too. I just recently, when he said what the meaning of the Terry Scant, I think, and what was it? That got me thinking, well, maybe, but I don't know.
My sense is he's comfortable that what he did with it enables you to, marvel gaze at the treasure for a couple of seconds and then pick it up, put it in your car and drive wherever you're going to drive. And if you're worried, if you're having to worry about whether or not you're going to be stopped by a national park ranger, or even worse, a private citizen, or even worse, a tribal officer, a Native American tribal officer. If you're worried about that, that's not going to make the experience that any more pleasurable. I think the idea is to let you look at that treasure, spend a couple of seconds thinking about how fortunate you are, and then pick it up, feeling good about it, put it in your car, and not worry about whether you're going to have somebody follow you to whatever the next land ownership line is.
Yeah. Do you think he might own the property?
No, because I don't think that changes the issue of title. And the reason
that's
is
true.
It would be dependent. Let's say he did own the property and he was still alive. Then you have one thing. Well, if he did own the property and he's dead, then the title of the property is transferred to his estate.
Yeah.
And who knows what's happening there. So again, you have to imagine that he had imagined potentially that this treasure. Think about it this way, and we did a video on this. Imagine that Forrest Fenn died in December of 2010. That's the set of rules that you're playing with.
Yeah.
Because that's what he had to do legally or logically. What he had to do is imagine what's going to happen when I die. Right?
Yeah.
How is this all going to play out?
I think it could just be out of his hands. Like he's not worried about it. Too.
I think that's where it's at now.
Yeah.
Right. Even while he's alive,
he's kind of stepped out.
It's out of his hands. He can't go get the treasure. He can't return it. He can't tell you where it is. He's got to wait for someone to find it. It's out of his hands already. Now he can. I don't think he does this, but he can establish directions and he can tease and he can do all these other things. But the fact is that after he hid it or after he made the decision, he was too old to go back and get it. It's out of his hands. It's in the hands of the person that finds that treasure, and there is nothing he can do about it. And I think he wants it that way because that treasure hunter might not do anything that Forrest Fenn had potentially imagined that finder could do. Right?
Yeah.
If Forrest is looking, I'd like it to go to somebody who's a noble and who wants to split it with nonprofits or put it in a museum. The finder may do none of that. It's out of his hands. There's nothing he can do about it. Right? Yeah. And as a matter of fact, in I can't remember exactly where he quoted this, but he said, "It's out of my hands. I will do whatever the finder wants me to do."
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it.
Right. And that makes
either,
two assumptions. One, that he's alive and the finder contacts him. That's the first assumption. And the second is that he's still alive. Those are the two assumptions, right?
Yeah.
What if the finder, let's say that Forrest Fenn is alive and the finder decides not to contact him? Then what? What control does he have?
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. And that's how he had to imagine it. He had to imagine that it was out of his hands.
Yeah. That's true. Okay. Yeah. I've been researching. I'm in Indiana, so I'm far from the area. But I grew up in Arizona, and I have a lot of family in Gallup. They own that Rainbow Bread factory there in Gallup, and just so I'm kind of familiar with the area. My search area is New Mexico, or majorly New Mexico. But I've been searching it online, and I'm really good at researching. So I've just obsessed because I obsess on everything. But I've been obsessing on it. But in the beginning, I decided not to. I didn't go online, and I didn't read the books. I didn't even get the books until last year, and I've been searching for about 4.5 years, or just trying to with the poem and with looking online. So I have all this information, and then just last year I started. I got the books and was reading it, and started watching YouTube because I didn't watch anybody's YouTube anything either. Yeah. And you guys, I liked your guys' show the best, and you guys had more of your solves, and more of the things you said were things that I had already, or not all of them, but had written down or had thought of. So you guys were more right on point with what I was thinking. And there was a few times where I thought, because of course I have probably 20 solves that I think are perfect. And of course I know that they're all right and they're all, or whatever. I don't, but, if I thought that, I'd be on a plane. But, anyway, there was a few times where I was I thought you guys were right where I was looking, where my first solve, my real strong one is. And then I don't know, it was in Taos and over by where the, with the tea house and that whole one. But I don't know. And I really enjoyed watching you guys, and it's nice. Now, and the books are great, but I think it just has confused me. It's just made my obsession even more intense, because, I didn't want to do that, because I knew that the chances of me figuring out which clues it makes it that much harder to figure it out. And if all you need is the poem, then that's what I'll stick with. But, I don't know. I really enjoyed watching you guys. And, I was the one, I donated to you guys not that long ago, and I wrote the, don't judge a man until you walk a mile in his shoes.
Right.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but.
Oh, it does matter. We like getting donations like that. People have things to say.
But,
Alicia, I'm actually pleased to hear that you're obsessive and that you admit you're obsessive, because I'm obsessive.
That I'm obsessive what?
And that you admit that you're obsessive.
Oh, I'm completely obsessed. Oh, yeah. And there's been days I didn't even go to bed, and I just and I'm a single mom with 3 kids. My kids, I say the word treasure, and they just roll their eyes, and they're like, oh, leave me alone. Like, don't even talk to me about it. But yeah, no, I've obsessed over it, it's what I do for a long time, and I'm good at researching stuff. So I start that rabbit hole, and I just go down it, and I don't even. Oh
no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But yeah,
it takes is one little statement made by somebody that sends me driving down that rabbit hole.
Oh, if I hear the word brown, I hear the word like anything, and I could be at the grocery store, I'd be like, "Why'd you say that? Like, what do you know?" I don't, but I feel like that's kind of how it is sometimes. I'm just like kind of.
No, we used to every trip that we've made, we go to the towns that are closest, and I start having conversations with waitresses, and I say things like, "When I say the word brown, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
What does that mean to you?"
Yeah. Where around here would I look for warm waters? I do that literally. I'm having conversations with waitresses doing that. So.
Well, my mom went to summer solstice this year. And I had her like going to all these places and asking them questions, and I had her up to, where somebody had told her I had her ask somebody something, and they told her about over where the Mora River meets the Pecos. Is it Pecos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's the one, and how that was could have been a possibly like warm water thing. And then I went into that rabbit hole. That was like 3 weeks right there. Yeah. And I just, I love it. And I had her go into all the tourist stops and like these little libraries, and she had all this information. I'm like, just mail it to me. And I always order like pamphlets and maps and stuff online. And I call the Santa Fe Trail people, and then they're sending me stuff. And I obsess like a lot.
Well, just to talk about obsessions, I'm about to start a new YouTube channel, and it's going to be called The Sand Project.
The Fenn Project?
The Sand Project. It's completely different from Fenn. It's The Sand Project. And it's based on I don't know if it's a theory, I guess it's a fact now, that we're running out of sand.
Are you saying sand? Sand. Sam, A-N-D?
Yes. Sierra, Alpha, November, Delta, sand.
Gotcha.
Like what you play in when you go to the beach. And it requires that people take samples of sand all over the world and send them to me. That's send as in Sierra, Echo, November, Delta.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's done based on this little rabbit hole that I followed down, and I thought, now this is really going to be interesting. But it was one YouTube video where the guy said we're running out of sand and explained it. And I'm going to be, I'm like Googling that as we speak, right? Yeah. Apparently we're running out of sand because sand is the component that's necessary to make cement, concrete work. But there's only certain kinds of sand that will. So, for example, in the Mideast, along those countries that are oil wealthy right now, they have to import sand in order to construct those buildings of theirs. They can't use the sand in the desert right outside these big towns.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah. I did not know. Yeah. Wow.
There are companies right now in the United States that are making profit manufacturing sand.
I'm in the wrong profession.
Yeah. So take a look at it. It's a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Rabbit hole.
No, I'll
Obsessive
be
rabbit
down
hole.
it.
And Shelley was over tonight. We have dinner between our afternoon show and we're sitting there talking, and she said, "Did you buy another microscope?" And I said, "Yeah, I did buy another microscope." And she said, "Why?"
Another microscope? Is that what you said?
Yeah, another microscope. And and she said, "Why?" And I started telling her this sand story, and she literally put her fork down and just looked at me like I was a nut. Like, what? Are you crazy? Where did that come from?
My mom thought I was doing drugs again. I did drugs when I was younger, and my mother literally thought I was doing drugs again. Like, for a while, she's like, "Are you doing drugs again?" I'm like, "No, mother."
No, I'm serious.
But now she knows. Now she knows that it's just like I'm just obsessed with this. And and she's like, "Why don't you come visit and we'll go look for it?" I'm like, "Because I have my main solve that I would go there first, but I got like 10 others that I think are pretty good, and I don't have the time or the money, and I don't want to go there and just be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going. I'm not. I don't have the money or time.
You want to
enjoy it.
You want to be sure. You want to have the first two things locked down, and you want to have a good sense of what you're going to find when you look for the Homer Brown. If you show up and you still don't have any idea what you think the Homer Brown is,
my problem is I have too many ideas.
Oh, okay.
I think I've researched to the point of I have so many that fit it so well that like I don't even know how to pick the best one out of them because they all fit really well.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So
all the way up to, and I don't look for the blaze, and I don't look for the blaze because I don't think that that's something I can figure out from Indiana.
Yeah.
But, I've gotten a lot of really good ones. And as far as like, I didn't pay attention to like land ownership though when I did it. Like I just you know what I mean? Just
get those BLM maps for those states.
Right. And I've started to go through and kind of weed those down. There's been a few that I was like, well, that's not going to happen. But there's just so many coincidences and so many things that fit. And like you guys were talking, I don't know, it was like a few weeks ago about the double omegas and that sign. You kept saying, what does that symbol mean? And it was actually an uppercase. The uppercase A is what it meant.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that fit like that it just, and I have solves that just fit, and I can't decide which one I like more or which one I don't. Like I have the opposite problem. I've researched this ridiculously too much, way too.
Well, the hard part is going to be narrowing it down to something that justifies the expense in both time, in time, money, and effort. Your first boots on the ground.
Yeah, and I just started doing Colorado just because I think if you saw what my Google Maps looks like you can't even see the map anymore. It's just lines and words that I've put on there. But I've gone to Colorado and just to try something new and started going down those rabbit holes. Which there's a few things.
Browns Canyon, chase that rabbit.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. And over. Yeah. I'm more like Leadville, Pagosa Springs. More that area.
Been there, done that. My favorite one is the guy who keeps sending me to some small town or something. I don't know whether it's a mining town, and it's called Homer Brown, Homer space Brown. Homer Brown.
Have you checked out the Elwood Pass area?
No, I haven't. I'm not a big fan of Colorado. Don't get me wrong.
I never was either. I wasn't either. And that's why I went to it. Because
I love the beauty of Colorado. I love trekking through those mountains. I love the fishing. I love everything. But it just doesn't strike me as a treasure state for some reason. I know.
Yeah, it didn't me
I'm
either.
Get a lot of people
I went to
in the room beating me up over that right now. Oh, look. So hang on. So Huli, So Sassy says she has some sand from Iwo Jima that she could send. My son got it during maneuvers there, and that's volcanic sand. So is it black, Sassy? Sassy, I will send you a sample bottle, a specimen bottle, and I would love to have that to start this project. Huli has some too. Huli says she can get some sand this week. So if you guys want to get me some sand, if you want to get some sand for the sand project, so go to a place where the sand is real, like on a beach or on a river, aside a river where it's river sand, because river sand turns out to be really interesting. But if you happen to be on Oahu, on along the black sand beach, do that. But all you have to do is take something like a little tiny plastic bag or a pill bottle that you rinsed out, anything, a small container. Take a small container worth of that sand and send it to me, and I'll make sure we can incorporate it into the YouTube channel. So I haven't decided to, I got to get past Shelley looking at me like I'm crazy before I do anything with this, but damn it, I didn't buy this new microscope. And I now own 4 microscopes. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, exactly. As if I
good.
didn't have anything else to do in my life.
Right.
So.
That's good. Well, hey, you have a hobby. You're happy, right?
No, the problem is I have about 10 hobbies, you know.
Me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
I know the feeling. So.
Oh, yeah. I do think I'm the same way. But yeah, I don't. Anyway.
All right, Alicia. Thank you for
It was
calling
nice talking to
in. It was
you.
nice
Thanks
talking
for
to you.
answering my question.
Feel
You
free
too.
to call in when you have other questions, all right?
I will. I might send you some of the stuff from Colorado just for you to check out. I think you might think it's interesting.
All right, I'll take a look at it.
Even though
No.
I'm trying to make a believer out of myself.
Yeah.
So maybe I can
Take a look at it, and if I...
take a look and see.
Yeah,
Did you know there's an Olga Mountain in Colorado?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's an Olga Mountain. It was after an old lady named Olga that would
A tea
take burros.
drinker? Oh. Did she drink a lot of tea? Oh.
I have no idea what she drank, but
Yeah.
it's a fun story anyway. She would she took the miners. She would go up this mountain with burros with donkeys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she was a guide?
No, she brought the miners like food and like just stuff. Like she's just this old lady, and she did it all the way up until like she was like I don't know old. But yeah, it's called Olga Mountain. I can't remember what the it's right kind of close to the border of New Mexico and
I have to tell you something. So my father had all these sayings that he was a businessman, right? And he had all these sayings that he used. And one of the things that he would say to friends is, if you want to get rich, don't dig for gold. Sell the tools to the gold miners. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's what she picked up on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's a fun story anyway. I love the stories. That's what I get obsessed with, is reading all the stories of like, back in the 1800s and early 1900s and just like, oh my God. But anyway, my kids thought I was crazy when I said I was going to like move. We were going to go move on a ranch and like, they were like, shut up, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you go.
All right. Talk to you later.
Time. All right, bye.
Bye now. Bye. So you guys in the room are just funny. Okay, Jim, I don't need sand from a playground. I need natural sand from natural objects, rivers and lakes and oceans, et cetera, And Tony, every time I say I'm doing something, you always have this imagination of I'm not looking for gold. So no, it's a sand project. We don't have enough sand, and I'm going to make a big deal about it. Toby, I might have some sand from Jamaica I brought home. Debbie, look for it. I'd love to have that. What I want to do, so here's what I'm going to, once we start this, I'm going to ask my viewers to take a sample and then to take a photograph of them holding the sample to same location, and then send me that email or text me that photograph. And the reason is, with that metadata, I can tell the location because of the GPS in your phone, the time, the date, et cetera, and I'll have the information necessary to catalog it. So don't do anything crazy right now, because I'm literally just trying to get through my bad knees phase right here, and I've already got 2 other channels that I'm working on, and I got to convince Shelley that this is going to be okay, because she's so funny. She goes like, really? She gives me a look like, really? Like, you need any anything else to do? So, Fortaleza. Let's see what we got here. So you heard me talk about our member vault that we had our initial meeting tonight, brainstorming session. If you're at all interested, go to gypsykiss.com and you'll have all the information you need to decide whether to join the member vault or not. Up to you. It's optional. Phone lines are open for another 20 minutes. I'm going to stay another 20 minutes. You have a narrow window. I will only be there a week. What's that for, Uli? In Jamaica? Are you the one that's going to Jamaica? What's no call? Well, a little vial. That's all I need, and kind of a photograph so I can get the metadata from it. So Denise, what did Denise do? Why is Denise? Oh, yeah, I bet you know. Okay. Yeah. Is Toby plotting the searchers? No, because you're going to be on a beach. I asked my daughter in Boca Raton to get me some. So any place you're on a beach or on a river where there's natural sand, you can send me sand. Like the problem apparently is that these places that are sand-ridden, White Sands, the Sand Dunes National Monument up in Colorado, those places, apparently the sand is of such low quality in terms of making it part of the concrete. They don't use it. That's why the Mid-Eastern countries are having to import sand. How's that? I'm in the wrong business. Who said that? Alicia said that. We're in the wrong business. Boots on the Ground GeoVentures, I want a sample of sand from any place that you can produce a sample of what I'll call natural sand. School playgrounds don't count. So, Life is Sweet by Silent Partner. Sassy, I'll figure it out. If you can send me the sand, I will, it's not that big an island, right? I'll have a good sense of where the coordinates are. So, yeah. Who wants some diamond sand? Tony Russi wants some diamond sand. Tony, no, I am not searching for gold or where searchers are searching. Why do you guys think I'm so nefarious? Marty, there's actually a river that goes through San Lazaro that would produce the kind of sand that I'm looking for. I couldn't do it because, I guess it's not on Native American land. But you couldn't even do that on, there's a Galisteo River that goes through let's see, what is that? San Ildefonso? And I couldn't take a sample from there. They take that seriously. Jimmy Fast, desert sand is too fine. It doesn't mix with concrete. The particles are too rounded and too fine, so they get mushy. And so when they add it to concrete, it doesn't stabilize the concrete enough to build with it. So that's why they're having to import it. They're importing it right now from the other side of the Mediterranean. Pounding Sands. Who said that earlier? I like the name Pounding. What's wrong with the Sand Project? Sand Project sounds pretty good to me. I think it'll make a great YouTube channel because I'll be able to ask for samples from all over the world. All you have to do is mail them in, and then you'll get a YouTube video about it. Play Sassy's song. I don't know. Is Sassy? Is that song by a recognized band or group? Because if it's copyrighted, I can't play it. All the music that I'm playing tonight is out of the YouTube audio library and attribution, not even attribution. I don't even have to say where it's coming from. So yeah, this is non-copyrighted music. That's why I can use it. So I would like to play. If you guys have some smooth jazz that you want me to play, first thing is, if it's copyrighted, I can't play it. But if you have some non-copyrighted music, then I would be happy to play it. Because we're all about smooth jazz. So this one is called Book Bag by E. Jammy Jams. Huh? Oh, Sassy says it's not copyrighted, it's her. Okay. Well, let's see what happens here. So let me finish this one and then I'll play it. We still have a little time. Sassy. All right. Sassy, it's up. It's ready to go. I'll play it after this one. Phone lines are open. You want to get one last call in here? I'll probably close the phone lines down at 10 of. We're going to finish the show at midnight tonight. But guess what? We're going to do this again next Friday. Denise says, Toby, you're fun to hang out with. Thank you, Denise. That's a very nice thing for you to say. Schroeder playing piano. This is a little bit better than Schroeder, for God's sake. Come on. At least I'm not miming it. What do they call it? Pantomiming. Playing the piano. Air playing the piano. So, Tony, I just watched a YouTube video about how it's gotten so much easier to produce synthetic diamonds and how close they are to the real that the what is it? Gemology Association of America. What do they call it? Now have 55 guys with microscopes, probably, who are paid to determine whether or not the diamond they received in the mail is natural or synthetic. So next year, I'm giving synthetic diamonds for everybody's birthday. CMC, bottom line is you don't have to join, right? They're not going to lose anything by not joining. Okay, so let's play Sassy's. She's warned us in advance. She said that, be warned, it sucks a little bit. Jesus, why am I playing music that you're already warning me in advance? All right, here we go. Here's the Sassy.
When I was a little bitty baby, my mama done rocked me in the cradle in them old cotton fields back home. It was back in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. Let me tell you, boy, I got into a fix. I got a nail in the tire to a lickety-split. I had to walk a long, long way to town. I met a nice old man and he had a hat on. Wait a minute, mister, can you give me some direction?
So you guys should all be singing along at this point.
When I was a little bitty baby, my mama done rocked me in the cradle in them old cotton fields back home. It was back in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana. gonna be them cotton fields back home. Yeah, it was back in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them cotton fields, ooh, sweet cotton fields. You know there's just no place like home. Oh boy, it sure feels good to breathe the air back home. You should have seen all the faces when they'd seen how I'd grown in them cotton fields back home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Sassy for your listening pleasure. A country version of an old Negro spiritual, I believe is what they would call that. Good job, Sassy. Thanks for sending that. I'm hoping it's not copyrighted because it's going to screw up the monetization. If it is, I'll have to fight YouTube over that one. So if anybody else has any self-produced music that you'd like me to play, I would be happy to do that. But it'll be easier if you give me some smooth jazz, because that's what my show is about. We're going to go back. So I'm going to turn off the phones because we've gotten kind of late, and we haven't had any short phone calls tonight. We've had some long phone calls, a lot of questions asked and answered, a lot of opinions expressed, a lot of theories put out there. So I'm glad you guys feel like you can do that. We'll try this again. I promised Shelley that I would try this for a couple of weeks and see what I thought about it. Because it's time, just like anything else that we do, it's time. And I think I want to expand this into things other than the search, but I don't know if that's possible. So we'll try it a couple more times, see how it goes, right? Has anyone heard of people copywriting their solutions? No, nor could they. That copyright law wouldn't allow it. You could write a book. You could write a book about where you thought the solve was, where you thought the treasure was. By the way, I bought the Audible version of Douglas Preston's Codex just so I could listen to it. It's very short. I do mostly nonfiction and mostly political, and those books are always between 15 and 20 hours worth of time when you do them Audible. Preston's book is only 6 hours and 15 minutes. It's a relatively short book, so should be able to get it get it through in a long weekend. Tell us a contractor story. Ooh, let's see, which one could I tell you? Contractor story. Contractor. So did I ever tell you about the one in Afghanistan? Have I told you about Afghanistan? Why was it? That was my last one, my last assignment. So, you know what? Dang nabbit. I don't think I have enough time today. I'll tell it to you on Friday night. How's that? I'll tell you one of my contractor stories, and Shelley's heard them all, so this is actually good. I will tell you one of my contractor stories on, who asked that? Was that Tony? No, Jimmy Fast. Jimmy, I will tell you one of those stories on Friday night, because most of these are at the stage where they're unclassified. Certainly. So classification will last up to 25 years. But the kinds of projects I was working on, so projects like when during President Reagan's first administration, he promised that if he won his re-election, they would go to Russia to meet with, what was his name? Not Brezhnev. Was it Brezhnev? No. The guy with the mark on his forehead. It's been a long time. Anyway, he promised to go meet with him, and they would resolve any outstanding issues between them. That was the beginning of the end for the Soviet Union. But anyway, Reagan had always talked about the Soviet Union as if he knew a lot about it, and what the CIA realized after talking with him in preparation for this trip is that he knew nothing about it. He knew that they were the, quote, evil empire, and then knew nothing about their history, about their politics, about the state of socialist communism and socialism, and how they ended up. You know, he literally knew nothing about it. So they also knew he was a big movie fan. And so what they did is they decided to produce basically a blockbuster movie about Russia, about the Soviet Union at the time. So they hired a bunch of independent contractors to go and shoot footage that they could then turn into this blockbuster documentary that Reagan could play before he got there. And I got, so when you do these kinds of projects, you only know what you're doing and not what everybody else is doing. And what I did was Moscow. I got Moscow, and I was actually assigned a Russian member, a member of the Russian the SVR, the State Department, and she was my guide, right? Because this was in the best interest of the Russians, the Soviet Union at the time, to do this. So they assigned me to her. Her name was Svetlana, and we spent 3 months shooting footage of all kinds in Moscow. And I brought that back, turned it over to the CIA, and later on, my footage and footage from a lot of others turned into. They hired musicians to do a score, create a score for the film, and they got guys that did titles, and they showed it to. It turned out to be like 2.5 hours. Gorbachev, yeah. It turned out to be about a 2.5 hour movie, and they broke it up into 3 sections because Reagan didn't have that kind of patience, and they played it for him so that he learned all he needed to learn about the evolution of the Soviet Union before he went there and sat down with Gorbachev. And as I mentioned, that was effectively the beginning of the end of what we then refer to as the Soviet Union. That led to the fall of the Berlin Wall, the collapse of the Soviet Empire, et cetera, et cetera. And then we got our friend comrades. Okay, I probably shouldn't say this. So, yeah, that's into politics. But I worked as a contractor under every president from Carter through Obama. So I had a lot of... I didn't cause the collapse of the Soviet Union. Didn't even... Glenn Miller, see, I can't play that, WFGs. I can't play anything that's copyrighted. So, all right, guys. It is midnight by my clock on my computer, so I'm going to say my good nights. Let me do, hang on. Oh, here you go. It's called The Night is Falling. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining me tonight. Had a good time playing some music, some smooth jazz. And the conversation was great. Thanks for calling in. And we'll do that more. We're going to try it out for a couple of weeks, see how it goes. We're not trying to set records here. We're just having a good time. And, of course, make sure that not on this show, that on the show earlier in the evening with Shelley, you make a comment so you have a chance to win this silver coin, all right? It's number 32. This Christy and Mike gave this to me to give away, so that's what we're going to do, all right? So, Brit Chaser. Oh, Brit Chaser, look at this. Hey, Jono. Let's see. So, it's what, 7 o'clock there now? 7 o'clock in the morning? Yes, I decided to do a 10 o'clock to midnight show just for the heck of it, to play some jazz and talk with people and have a good time. So we've done that. So yeah, we're going to do this again Friday. So tune in then, Jonah, on your way to work or whatever. All right, guys, you have a good night. I'm going to do an outro here. I only have the one outro, so we'll just play that, okay? Yeah. So, Jimmy Fast, I'll tell you a better story on Friday, towards the end of the evening, all right? Thanks for joining us tonight. Joining us as if there's a mouse in my pocket. And then maybe next time I'll bring some of my microscopes with you and bore you to death with how intricate they are, all right? You guys have a good evening.